So I started the Spanish language learning track on Duolingo only 118 days ago, and I'm already finished. With the stories, that is. Hey friends! This part of the language learning journey in Spanish for me has been with Duolingo, but Duolingo is really intimidating. At least for Spanish, there are 10 units. Each of the units has 45 lessons, and each of those lessons have 5 levels of difficulty. That's like 2,250. Is that right? Yeah. All right. The first 5 units went by so quickly because of all of the Spanish I'd learned up to this point. But now I'm at unit 6 and it's just slowed down tremendously. Some of the lessons I've had to complete multiple times because I still don't quite get it yet, which has made me feel a little bit discouraged. However, that's led me to look for other features within Duolingo, like stories. Stories are grouped in sets. There are 4 stories for every set, and at the time of filming this, there are 72 sets for English speakers learning Spanish. I say this specifically because I thought that stories were for all Duolingo users, but not so. So if you speak Portuguese and you're trying to learn German, or you speak Spanish and you're trying to learn French, no stories for you yet. But just you wait, because when you get stories, you'll find that they're hilarious. I mean, either they're hilarious or I have a really dark sense of humor. There's this one story about a boyfriend taking his girlfriend to a surprise date on a sunset cruise, but little did he know she was afraid of boats or didn't like boats because her great-great-grandparents died on the Titanic. Literally left field. Another reason to love stories is because the stories were as inclusive as the language permitted. So for Spanish, there were stories with relationships about 2 females or 2 males, the las lesbianas and the los gays. But for the non-binary community, at least in Spanish, there's not any grammatically inclusive language that's internationally accepted yet. So while that's a limiting factor if you're learning Spanish, if you're learning English, I do hear that the they them pronoun is used, which is pretty cool. For each of the Duolingo stories, I've also really just enjoyed the creativity that seems to have gone into each and every one of them.
El resto del vuelo será muy tranquilo.
The voice acting is phenomenal, the characters are amazing and hilarious, especially Lucy. She is by far the best character. Lucy is portrayed as an older woman who was a spy back in the day, who was caught by the enemy and escaped by plane, and then given that plane, she is my spirit animal. As you can probably tell, I formed some pretty deep bonds with these characters, which encouraged me to continue using Duolingo, if not just for stories. As I was working through these stories, I made sure to only use my phone rather than the web version, because the web version made you go through the same story twice for some reason. It was a very sad day when I finished all of the Duolingo stories, and I thought that my relationship with Lynn, Eddie, Junior, Bea, Oscar, Zari, Lily, and Lucy had come to an end. And it was a glorious day when I got a notification that Duolingo had added more stories. They're actively adding new content, and it's exciting. Además, no sé si los cuentos son tan efectivos como las secciones, por ejemplo, pero me encantan. Me encantan los cuentos, los personajes, la creatividad, todo. Y por eso siempre voy a hacer los cuentos antes de las secciones, sin duda.